focus.
Today, I'd like to introduce to you about the Piano Sonata No. 3 by Prokofiev. First of all, I want to make a brief introduction about Prokofiev, about his creation background and music style. Secondly, I will make a detailed analysis and discourse about this piece. Then, on the basis of my own performance, I will play jazz and average recordings, which provides a good reference and study for us to learn this piece. Prokofiev was born in 1891 to 1953 from the famous composer Rimsky-Korsakov. In his lifetime, he wrote about 130 works, many of which were made for the piano. Prokofiev's life age was an age of turbulence, like philosophy, literature, science. Great changes had taken place in the whole field of music, and music creative thinking presented the diversification trend of the development. Many composers were seeking change in their creative thinking. Some people began to break through tradition, denied traditional harmony, and developed the function in the external direction, such as changing the chord structure, expanding the range of tonality, and so on. And composers had infinite freedom on selected harmony material. On the other hand, a group of performers put forward the slogan of return to Bach, advocating pure music and returning to rational thinking while breaking through the constraints of traditional thinking. Prokofiev was also a special composer in this era. He talked about the four main series of his creativity and progressing in his safe statement: classical, innovative, toccata, and lyric. In his music creation, there were several important and obvious features. In phrases, the main toner works both the inheritance of the classicism and the romanticism in the side. A large number of innovations and established its unique style, and was a combination of these to achieve the balance and coordination, while insisting on the use of stable conditioning on choice as the basis of harmony. Because if you make these three overlapping chords increase to 7 tones, you actually combine these three different function chords together and break the contrast between the traditional choice. In addition, Prokofiev broke the rule of inconsonance chords must turn to be harmony chords. He was opposed to romanticism, maintaining the accord of harmony and the hazy color of harmony of impressionism. He was unbound by the use of inconsonance chords, and his work was sometimes resolved, sometimes unsolved. Just like Higher Neuhaus once said, because of the logical and strong tonal structure, all of the broad application of harmonic techniques of Prokofiev doesn't make people feel for a discordant note in a dissonant note. His music often cruised and hovered between traditional and modern, which means the sound was new, but the structure path was very clear. In essence, Prokofiev tended to be more neo-classicism composer. In spite of his music in general is advocate tone texture is giving priority to homophonic texture, but in his work he used a large number of the polyphonic technique, pursuing multi-part line to create a lot of novel, chic, and color-moving period of polyphonic music. His creation was divided into 3 stages. His 9 sonatas run through his career and reflected his quest for a good combination of inheritance and innovation, including the Piano Sonata No. 3, which was his first creation stage from 1908 to 1918. It took 10 years for the piece to be written. In 1907, he finished the first draft of music, and then he worked on the first draft, terminating and reproducing. Finally, he finished the final draft in 1917. It is a single movement sonata, although its length was limited compared with the other sonata. The length seems to be shorter, but he used ingenious techniques and also showed the rich variety of emotional and ever-changing scales. The whole music was magnificent, and the rhythm was intense, and the percussive stereo ran through from the beginning to the end. As a sonata, it consists of introduction bar 1 to 15, exposition bar 16 to 93, development bar 94 to 153, recapitulation bar 154 to 204, and coda bar 205 to 234, A minor. The speed at which the piece gives is allegro tempestoso. The max means a stormy. The harmony of introduction is based on A minor, dominant chord, and the volume always maintaining fortissimo, and the mood shows strong spirit. So, in the whole part, the way of touch key should be very direct, creating mechanical sound. The whole drives the hands first joint, but at the same time, the wrist must be relaxed. At the beginning, there are the chip chord in 2 low register bars. These 2 bars are easy to be played in a sequence of chords, thus ignore the 2E, which should be highlighted. The same material of the introduction appears in the 3rd bar, and although there are 4 accents in the material, proceeding of music can't be stopped. It should be go to F in bar 5 in 1 brace, like that. The basso also has the accent mark. It is not only the accompaniment, and to avoid that the left hand is easy to decrescendo, it should always maintain the same volume as the right hand, like the continuation of stereo. In RH's performance version, there is no use of pedals at the beginning of the introduction, and the speed is much faster than the Jazz version, and Jazz uses a lot of pedals. And we can hear their performance. The second one is average. a straight line connecting to the bar 16 of exposition. So, the music in the bar 15 should also be directly carried to bar 16, like that. And the tonic delays to bar 16 of exposition. Alto between bar 16 to 19 is chromatic ascending, which forms counterpoint for the soprano. As for performance, the melody is still dominated by the soprano. What needs to be mentioned is that in this part, music should be goes to the note behind dotted rhythm, rather than staying at the top of soprano, so that the music is going to move forward. And it's the same disposed in next period where the phrase with the daughter. Starting from the bar 20, the same material in the introduction is presented in the melody of the right hand by impairing, and it uses the technique of sequenza, which extends to bar 25. In these phrases, composer using the power of 540 piano mark and a chorus on the upbeat. And this way of changing accent, also dims the beat, it promotes dramatical of music, so we should give emphasis on 540 piano. After the expression of tension, when it comes to bar 26, it certainly changes of tempo and tones with pianissimo. From bar 27, the rhythm becomes toccata. This kind of percussion and the infinite sound effect is very much like the infinitive noise of mechanical motor drive in the modern social factories. Bar 29 to 30 is the first tonal area theme. The second beat treble in bar 29 is motive A. The second beat of bar 30 is motive B. And from bar 29 to 52, a two-handed revised scale and toccata rhythm sequence and repeated, and developing many small climax. When both hands go revised scale, the scale has mark of crescendo, but sound volume is pianissimo in the scale highest peak, like a kind of including swarming power with enhancement, forming a relative special sound effect. And until bar 43, it is truly poured out. In this part, we can hear Julius uses a lot of pedals. And from bar 53, after 5 bars, transition goes into the second tonal area, and the tempo becomes moderato. The mark is pianissimo and tranquility, which means very quiet. This is a very smooth scale and should be played very legato. And personally, I will use the soft pedal to control the volume. The brilliant music emotion in the first tonal area becomes mysterious and caution, and with uncertain music preceding trend. And there is a secondary theme from bar 58, which is based on the relationship of A minor in C major. And the motive C in bar 58 develops from 58 to 77 in the form of canon. In second tonal area, many phrases are proceeding with 4 parts together, which pay attention to the direction of every line. Let every line more nature and legato. There are conversation between 4 parts. And at the same time, maintaining the smooth of chromatic scale in alto. The finger should be near the key as much as possible. On the score, we also can see simplicity mark, which means simplicity and nature. Prokofiev's lyric is very simple and realistic, and definitely not unconstant and boring. It needs to be carefully understood and tasted. Although the melody is dolce, the breath is long, but in the process of handling, the main melody should try to be simple and nature, and avoid exaggerated performance, such as too much free rhythm and too much crescendo or decrescendo. The tone of the second tonal area is also worth mentioning. The player's different pursuit of tone has led to the change of piano touch mood. In romantic works, when playing singing phrase, to achieve the effect of legato, we often touch the key and play with his finger palm, soft knocking between hammer and the strings, to obtain a beautiful soft tone. But I think the touching way in the lyric period here should still be more direct. The sound should be not too weakness. In the recording of Aguich, tone of soprano is very blind, and the volume is more prominent than other parts. The tempo is faster than jazz, and it doesn't follow moderato mark in the score. She almost reaches allegro, and her rhythm is very free. On the contrary, jazz maintaining the volume balance of 4 parts, and the rhythm keeps stable. From bar 78, Aguich doesn't use pedals, and the left hand syncopation rhythm is very obvious. The touch of the key is shorter, and the music she plays is more humorous and jungular. Jazz's play is more lyric, and we can enjoy their performance. The first one is Aguich. When it comes to bar 86, the voice added to 4-part configuration in basso, broken octave interval in different register parts to jump into a wide range. At this time, constant note C in bass line finally becomes a soprano melody in bar 90. Sound performance just like walking a long way to the end. Quiet is temporary, indicating the magnificent scene is imminent. Like walking from a dream, it arouses the consciousness of all. Once again, it returns to the allegro, going into the development triplet with percussion of these strong strings to the final soprano chorus. Then, both hands alternately play the thematic material of introduction, and each note has accent mark here, and keep the same force of fortissimo. Repetitive material uses the way of interrupting to make sound effect become more acute. At this point, the touch of key should be very short and thin to obtain the acute sound. And bar 101, the mark of marcatissimo means very clear and tough with a structured rhythm. It's just like a machine running, while the left hand is staccato mark, means jump. But I think there it should be a kind of force downward, non-legato, and at the same time, the processing cannot be too heavy in order not to make the music stagnant and inflexible. There it should be a feeling of infinite mood until later. The emotion should be very intense, and after the repetition of 2 bars, it comes to bar 103. While soprano is main melody, but we can't ignore 340 with accent in alto, and with crescendo mark, the sound effect become more strings. And when it comes to bar 105, the exposition of register of right hand melody up 4 octaves. Gradually it becomes fortissimo, and the score is marked with precipitato, which dramatical presto. The music emotion goes to the peak. It's just like the machine's roar become more big and noise. When the melody goes to bar 111, although the voice is marked with diminuendo, but I think it can do a small crescendo in quick triplet on tail end, forming a grace note. Until bar 114, soprano uses material of the second tonal area, it should be most likely to play distinctly of soprano melody lines. Mid parts of semiquavers are like the echo of the melody, and we should pay attention to control the volume of it. The bass part of the song is also very clear. The score is marked by agitato and forte. The tone changes, and the music mood becomes a lyric singing, and the exciting emotion remains until now. And from bar 118, the first tonal area appears alternately in soprano and basso, like a conversation between two people. But when the melody doesn't end at soprano part, it starts on with the basso and always keeps on at 40 volume, and it is also like to interrupt a conversation. After ritornello in bar 122, tempo becomes moderato. The soprano melody uses the second tonal area motive C to development and expression. The bass parallels third triplet with chromatic conjunct with a continuous line that creates a syncopated effect, but it can't play any accent in here. And as an accompaniment pass, the chord performance should also be near the key to keep tone soft and smooth, and pay attention to the harmonic color change. The pedal changes with bass harmony change, and the melody line in alto should be very clear and legato. When it enters to the moderato, the mark is piano and dolce. It is turning to lyric, tonic, and until bar 128, it becomes più lento and dolcissimo. Then we can use soft pedal and according to the diminuendo to make music disappear slowly. The rhythm of average is very free in this part. For me, 2-3 rhythm may be difficult to conjure in this period, so I will use a structured rhythm like jazz. In bar 132, the mark is più animato. Compared to moderato before, it is more active. The basso uses the second tonal area motive C to make the development of sequence melody with octave overlap. The whole section is at the volume of pianissimo. It needs to control the volume of the chords and highlights the soprano and the basso. Also, the music emotion is in the hazy and the diminuendo. The internal forces in the basso melody lines warming constantly, so we should pay attention to long lines. And when we play, we should take bar 132 to 135 as a phrase, and take bar 136 to 139 for a phrase, so that music won't stagnate and gradually to the development's climax. In this section, jazz focuses on the basso melody, and average maintains volume balance of high and low parts, and the volume keeps around mezzo piano. You can hear. The first one is Julius recording. Second one is arpeggios. And this bar 140 to 145 is marked as con effecto, which has dramatical and powerful effect. The second tonal area, motif C, returns to melody of right hand, which cooperates with the chord of left hand syncopation rhythm continuously forward, and some version of this score marked non-legato, which is not the original mark. I think here it can also be played as a reference. Julius just did that he poured wild when he played, while the average keep legato, and the music is always forward horizontally. With the register become more big, allegretto appears as mark, and the sound is gradually strong, and the entire volume effect is carried to the 340 to the piece's climax. In this section, the parallel chords upward in left hand and diminished seventh chords chromatic downward alternatively. Melody plays percussion sound. The tension is continued, and this mood is very excited. The volume is always at 340. In this section, all left-hand chords have accent marks. It is easy to play into a single chord in separation. Actually, it should be in two phrases. It is best not to slow down, and one should pay attention to the melody line direction. The effector of tapping sound should be very glorious. Now I will play. Until the end of the bar 152, still maintain the original speed, thin but smooth when playing octave. Finally, it ends in bar 153, E minor, seventh chords, which ends all our climax of development. And in bar 154, note E is a chord in formal maintaining sound, and here the play should put off the pedal slowly. Let a single E continued concision to bar 155, marked with 3 piano. which gives a very sharp contrast with 340 before. Like that. And then we go through a series of infinite moving rhythm to the recapitulation. The entire is only 50 bars and is rather short. Compared to the exposition. So it is impairment will appear, and I will play a part of recapitulation. From bar 155 to 188 reproduces the same material in first tonal area. Bar 189 to 196 basal with dotted rhythm requires the second tonal area same melody. Therefore, it should pay more attention to the highlight alto parts in the melody. But at the same time, the right hand of triplet can't be taken with a large segment. Should play a clear point of triplet rhythm, so that the music it will be more rhythmic. The technique in these places is very difficult, especially keep clear in alto legato. Jazz performed very well, and his alto legato presents his great skill. You can enjoy it. When it comes to coda, the mark is poco più mosso, which means a little faster. It uses the first and the second tonal area material. At first, the left hand uses chromatic descent to combine the main continuous note A, and the right hand is the parallel third melody. Soprano and basso are staccato with pianissimo. It also cannot too light and should be with a little bit of tension and non-legato. Jazz here in every bar give the first note accent in bar 213. The accent of alto is as thin as the song of the whole, and the music emotion is more intense and dynamic. The performance should indicate a great end to the climax. Drama and tension continues increase. It should prominent the melody in soprano, and which is descending to A minor dominate chord, and then with a series of ascending and with 3 times crescendo, the volume reaches 340. But then, suddenly, it changes from 3/40 to pianissimo, and this a series of C major broken chords should be very legato. The music emotion may change in here, like enter a beautiful and pure milk dream, but it just continue to pass. It quickly comes back to the intense emotion before, and then directly received by 227 of a series of repeat intense chords and returns to fortissimo volume. The left hand is dominated, not E, by using octave in different register drum. That this sound effect become more brilliant and with an unstoppable trend. In bar 229, after a substantial pause followed by some notes with accent, I will adopt some version mark non-legato to prominent the accent and give the music emotion more strong and feel mood, and kick tapping sound and power, and finally it ends as the sound on tonic octave. Has their own colorful past, which provides a good reference for us. And just like Shakespeare once said, 1,000 people have 1,000 Hamlets in their eyes. So we should start with tone itself, and by adding our own music insights to play each note.